A place for everything and everything in its place. At least that's how the saying goes. But apply that phrase to the content and layout of data in documents read by law enforcement officers at the roadside or DMV employees at the counter. Suddenly, it transitions from a simple saying to a vital part of conducting business efficiently and safely.
A lot of the registration documents and insurance cards that are issued by jurisdictions or issued by insurance companies vary a great deal. And for the end user of those documents, it's very confusing. It takes time to sort through where the information is on the document, what does it mean, how is it presented on the document.
AAMVA formed the Registration and Insurance Card Standardization Working Group, bringing together representatives from law enforcement, motor vehicle administration, and industry to address inconsistent data content and formatting of vehicle registration and insurance identification documents. The working group's newly released Motor Vehicle Registration Document and Insurance Identification Best Practices Guide for Paper and Electronic Credentials presents recommendations for standardizing data elements for vehicle registration documents and insurance identification cards, and the format in which they should be presented.
Customer service is important to motor vehicle administrators. Having insurance cards and registration certificates that are standard help us collect information more quickly, and that results in better customer service because we are processing customers more timely. And thankfully that leads to customers not having the same wait times that we traditionally have in our driver license and motor vehicle offices. In addition, it helps us ensure that we're collecting data accurately so that when we have to, for example, send insurance information to insurance companies to verify the validity of the insurance provided, we can do that without errors that might result in customers being inaccurately suspended for lack of insurance. So overall, having standards helps us process customers faster and provides less inconvenience to customers who might be affected negatively by bad data.
When the data on a document is formatted differently from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, it requires an officer on the side of the road to have extensive knowledge in each of those formats and be able to interpret the information correctly and in a very short time frame. That's not practical. An officer's attention is already divided during a traffic stop or crash investigation between the safety and security of the scene for all the involved parties and the proper collection and validation of required data for completing the necessary forms.
The Best Practices Guide also discusses considerations for moving from paper vehicle registration documents and insurance identification cards to the electronic presentation of both.
We're in 2013 now. It's the age of smartphones, it's the age of new technology. A lot of customers are increasingly going paperless, and you're seeing a lot of electronic ID card legislation throughout the country, and it's happened quickly. Just in 2011, actually 6 states enacted the law in 2011.
The registration certificates could be electronic, and if they were, it would potentially save taxpayer dollars. And customers have come to expect that we will have state-of-the-art provision of services like the private businesses they deal with. In many cases, we do online banking, we do all of our activities online, and we no longer carry a big thick stack of documents in our wallet or in our car pocket. So having electronic documents overall is helpful to the customer as much as it's helpful to us in saving taxpayer dollars.
Moving to electronic vehicle registrations and/or electronic insurance identification documents has the potential to enhance the ability of an officer to efficiently collect and authenticate data at a traffic stop or crash investigation. That potential can only be realized if all of the involved entities, the insurance companies, the DMVs, and law enforcement work together to create a systematic approach to the utilization of an electronic system and its electronic document, including authentication of the data presented to the officer.
The working group's inclusion of insurance industry representatives in helping to craft the best practices guide proved vital in creating a document that both AAMVA jurisdiction members and industry partners would be able to work with.
It was important to include industry in the conversation because they know things we don't. And they indeed brought things to the table that we otherwise would have been unaware of. And it was that confluence of subject matter expertise at the table between MVA and law enforcement jurisdiction members and the technical experts from the insurance industry that helped us come up with a very comprehensive document. We believe we discussed all the issues at great length, and we believe the recommendations we ended up with are solid and that are recommendations that actually can be implemented both by the motor vehicle administrators on the registration side and insurance companies on the private side.
Having a group like AAMVA, which you get buy-in from law enforcement, the states, and the insurance industry, it really allows collaboration and an understanding of what's important from all three stakeholders on an insurance ID card.
While the working group recognizes that jurisdictions will most likely be unable to immediately move towards standardizing their data and forms, the group hopes that when members have the opportunity to change or upgrade their current operations, they utilize the recommendations in the best practice guide.
Well, first of all, we fully understand that not everyone can retool their system immediately, and that's not our expectation. But as motor vehicle administrators over time evaluate their current documents and they're talking about some kind of retooling or reformatting, that would be the time to take our best practice guide and make sure that they take our recommendations to heed when they're developing a new document or a next generation document.